you know, Encore have played these maps domestically and how confident they are on these maps. I think Vertigo is an interesting pick because it's not the greatest win rate for Encore either. And they're just picking it because it seems to be a bit of a weak point in the map pool for Astralis. But there's going to be no doubt in my mind that Astralis is going to recognize that. They're going to try to be working through some of these issues. I think there's a couple of key players that could really have a lot of impact here for Encore on this map.
All right, Jim, who's going to win?
Oh, it's surely got to be Encore.
Surely it's got to be Encore.
Bias Aussie caster.
2-0, he says.
2-0.
As he takes a bit of a break now and enjoys the rest of the matches from the sidelines. We'll see how this one does play on out. Encore to start on the T side, Pilski, and they're looking at mid to make their first avenue of attack work out. Good push onto Glaive. It's going to force him off of the jump up, and Savage, he gives him no room to work at all. Licky, inevitably the one to find the frag. Apoc up the stairs, and Encore are out of the gates fast and hard, and Astralis have no answer.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for the Astralis to get back in here on the retake, but that's a nice little entry back onto the site. Underground smoke onto the bomb as well. This is getting a little bit difficult for Encore to manage, and all of the shots being connected by Astralis. Where did that come from? A 3v5 like nothing.
Yeah, it just looked like Encore was running away with that pistol, and then Farlig decided it's time to turn it on, picks up 4 kills. He said, there is an answer, and it's me.
Yeah,
I mean, it just fell apart for Encore from there.
Looking at this Astralis roster, like I feel like throughout its various iterations and different AWPers, it's kind of felt like the firepower has rested a lot on Blame and Config having some big games for themselves. Obviously, they're riflers that bring a lot of firepower. The thing about the old Astralis rosters is I feel like they're reasonably well-rounded. You even have like some good games, some good halves map-to-map for players like Sipnix or Glaive. But to see Farlig fire up is a worrisome sign indeed. A very quick one straight up the ramp here from Encore, just taking the fight straight to Astralis and trying to set themselves up for a little bit of a side hit.
It's fairly typical of Encore, isn't it, right? Forcing into a second round after not winning the pistol. They got the bomb plant down. They'll be backing themselves, and they do generally find a way to make rounds like this work on a reasonably consistent basis. But again, you have to ask, is that going to happen against international opponents? And with Config here getting traded back on down, it doesn't look too bad for Encore. That could have been a lot worse.
They're so quick. What is going on? Astralis really putting all their eggs in the basket of holding A, but Encore are so quick around the map. Straight back over towards this B side of the map. They're trying to get themselves a little bit more of a safety net to get this plant down, and they start to get those smokes. Very, very close position for Savage up near the generator here.
Have managed to get that bomb plant down, and Savage now able to close his position in tightly. Hazard dies to a grenade, which puts it back into a 2-on-3. Very much favouring Astralis. Lacking head armor on Zipex, but it's probably not going to matter too much now that it is just down to Licky, and he's going to have to deal with a couple of players. I don't know if the MAC-10 at that kind of a range, on that kind of an angle, is going to be able to pull off a 1-on-3 Pilski. It was ambitious thinking. But this is a high-octane game. We've seen very, very fast rounds already for the first couple. And I wonder how long that's going to continue if Encore is the one that's sort of setting that pace initially and Astralis is answering that.
Yeah.
If Encore starts to lose more and more rounds and some go into the bank of Astralis, does Encore continue to try to bring that faster pace, or are they going to slow things down?
Definitely have seen them mix up the pacings on this map many a time before, and it feels like they're not too afraid to, like you said, have some faster paces in the early round. I really like the rotation, dealing with the flank and trying to get, call the order. We'll go back towards the B side of the map, but it feels like in the pistol and in that last round as well, Astralis are having no issues in the XVXs, just react and be able to get the critical frags in the mid-round.
Once again, a bit of an investment here from Encore. Really backing themselves in these early round battles.
Yeah, the force in from Licky, that's something we saw up against FaZe as well. Hazard, you only have so much utility in a round like this. He wants to be able to save that smoke for the execute if he can, and unfortunately, he only loses 64 HP, so he could have actually held on to that smoke if he wanted to. Astralis trying to keep Encore at arm's length here. Use the power of those A1Ss up against the half buy, and Licky is probably the one who needs to try to crack things open here with that hero AK, but maybe it's going to be Astralis to take the momentum in their favor. Actually, the reaction from a couple of peaks off the back of that contact is starting to work favorably for Encore.
Yeah, Glaive going to have to put in a bit of work here on the A bomb site. Gets his incendiary down just in time, and Encore slow the pace up a little bit. 40 seconds left remaining. They're going to have to commit to the A bomb site now. And Zipix is going to go looking for some info. He'll get it and then some. APOC does go down, but it opens up the trade for Sterling. And now the numbers advantage for Encore, but they're going to have to get that bomb plant down. Sterling goes to retrieve it.
A couple of rifles picked up as well, gives a lot more firepower back over to Encore here. Config's got to be the one to do the lion's share of the work with full HP, a smoke, and a kit.
Yeah, it does have the head armor as well, which is going to benefit him greatly against those M4s. Blicky, though, hasn't taken any damage just yet. It's going to be Sterling to strike initially and even to follow up. So, nicely done. Encore will win their first round, and it's not as if Astralis have been able to rampage through these 3 rounds, right? It's been some good early signs initially from Encore. Then, to be fair, a bit of a blitzkrieg coming out from Astralis, but Encore have been able to find that punch back early on in the piece. And what I kind of like about this, and again, it might be the biased Aussie in me speaking, is that Encore seems to be backing themselves. You know, they're playing their natural game. They're forcing into these rounds. They're taking that fight to Astralis, and they're not rolling over and dying.
Yeah, it's not all done and dusted just yet, though. Although Encore have got themselves a nice little economic edge off the back of winning that half-buy in the last round. The Force comes back through from Astralis. Big thrown on towards that double eco territory. Farlig doesn't have a primary weapon, so that's going to make things a little easier if they do have to only go up against a player with a USP here. And comparatively, this retake setup on the A side is going to be a lot more easy for Encore to attack if that's what they want to go for. But in the meanwhile, you just see them taking their time, working the map with this player so deep up secret side, though. It could be Encore trying to go back towards the A site, but glaive just absolutely ends Hazard.
Well, these are always the kinds of rounds that really scare me.
Picked up.
Watching a team like Encore playing against a team like Astralis, because this is not the kind of round that you can afford to lose.
No.
You know, you've done the hard work, you've gotten yourself back into a commanding position, and if you're inevitably going to throw that all away, then Astralis kind of gets a free pass out of the early stages of the half. So a lot of work to do for Encore to be able to bring this back.
Still so many players here on this A side of the map. Bit of a shift from Astralis, though. Multiple Molotovs, none of them flushing out sandbags here, Jordan. This could be a nightmare.
Yeah, he's not going to be cleared, is he? Encore not even watching it at the moment. I think Savage might have been taking a bit of a look, but it's going to come through a little too late. So 2 to the Molotov, but Savage does good work to bring it back to a 4-on-3. Still 18 seconds left on the clock, and now just Licky left alive for Encore. That round has gone horribly wrong for them.
It's in the mid-round that it completely comes apart there. Glaive with a nice little push on towards secret side. 1DX Hazard picks himself up at A1S. And then they make all the adjustments that they need to. You know, they sneak Zipnix into sandbags late. They go for that little boost over the top of the exec smokes, and it's a multi-frag from Blame. So really nice adjustments from Astralis. Even after Encore kind of wrestles some ramp control off of them, they had Hazard in that progressed secret position. It could sort of pressure the side of the site while the exit came in if the Encore got time to actually get their feet under them. But Astralis never let them get comfortable.
Well, back into a bit of a half-buy for Encore. They're going to continue to try and put that pressure on Astralis. Vincent comes out here from Config, got a nice timing. It's going to lock that play up onto the stairs and essentially force APOC into what could end up being a 1-on-1 or a 1-on-2, but looks like the majority of the work is being put in at the ramp side of the map. As Astralis push their way down, already finding themselves a frag. Farlig clearing it out on at least the right side. Config eventually does find his man APOC, but he had it trapped underneath the stairs. There's another sharp shot onto Savage, and you're starting to see that class from Astralis being put to good use, and Encore don't seem to have an answer for it at the moment.
Yeah, not yet, and it's worrisome if they're not able to chip away any of these guns here with this half-bite, because Astralis' economy is still a little bit flimsy. Really would be worth its while if these Dig investments could find some kills, but Astralis, an absolute flawless shutdown of that half-buy, is going to stabilize their CT economy for the next couple of rounds to come, and that's going to make Encore's ability to chip into this half a little bit more difficult. You're going to have to see them win multiple gun rounds in a row to start to reset that CT economy and close this scoreline gap.
Well, here's the first chance of doing it. It's actually the first proper full buy that Encore has been able to get across the line. So this will be where we get a bit of a better indication of what they might be able to bring to bear on the T side of Vertigo.
Let's keep an eye on the pacing here, because they've been playing very up-tempo in a lot of these more important rounds. A bit slower on the Deagle half-bite.
think it's a particularly important map for Encore as well, knowing that Nuke is coming up next. I wouldn't give them much of a chance against an Astralis that, if anything, they've looked a little bit nice. Look like they've been struggling of late, but even Nuke still has been a bit of a stronghold. Hazza opening the account, looks for more, but can't beat Farlig to the punch.
Yeah, but they've still got a lot of control of ramp. They've got that early 1-for-1 that's going to start to pull apart the rotations. And Astralis have been very quick on these rotations. It's always felt like they've had a great read on what's happening in the round, and they've got more players than Encore are expecting in that part of the map. But again, similar to the earlier portions of these rounds, Encore is quite quick to rotate around the map. Astralis looking to seek some info over on the A side of the map in the meanwhile, leaning heavily on Config, who's on a retake setup on B. Actually, he's getting aggressive here.
I was going to say, I don't know if that's a retake setup anymore. Yeah. Has he sniffed out APOC over that broken wall, or over that wood wall, I should say? He has. APOC wasn't expecting him that far up close, but Savage is able to find the trade relatively unhindered. blameF really lines them all up, and he does a lot of damage to Savage and Sterling, but it's still a 2-on-2. Make that now a 2-on-1. Sterling goes down, but Savage, the young gun from ANZ, very nearly gets it done.
He is way too sharp right now. In every single mid to late round, this guy is just multi-fragging and bailing Astralis out. Looking incredibly sharp right now. 9-1. Has barely lost a duel this whole game.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a decent read again from Encore. I like the rotation back around, but Config's forward position there gave enough space for Blame to be able to rotate in and even further some of the other players out of that. Again, it just never has felt like in these mid-rounds that Encore is able to get comfortable on the site. And that's a worrying trend, because that BO1 earlier against FaZe, they were getting absolutely domed in the mid to late round. They were getting shut down before they were able to get boots on the ground in the bomb site or even get into some of these post plants. So they need to start to remedy that.
The way it's going, they're not really going to have much of a CT side to play with. So even if some of those issues are perhaps rectified by a swap inside, there might not be enough room to really work with for Encore if they can't put together at least another 3, 4, 5 rounds here on the T side of Vertigo.
Again, it's a quite slower pace on the half-bite. Trying to make the Ds work for themselves, just a bit more of a split-pick approach. A lot of presence over here towards ramp, but it's just a shooting gallery for the A1Ss all of these rounds. Ooh, a couple of frags being pitched back in by Encore.
Yeah, and I think that's the painful part of watching this for Encore and for their fans, is that none of these rounds have really felt like they've been a whitewash or they've been a super easy task for Astralis, but it is just evident that they might have that extra 10% or 15% that is getting them mobilized. They've got Farlig at 10-1, whereas Encore don't have a player that's doing that at the moment. They're chiming in with some damage here and there, but they're not being able to turn any of these rounds into anything substantial, and very quickly the scoreline's going to creep up to 6-1.
Well, Savage looking to isolate some of these angles, see if any of the CTs are going to get over-aggressive, but it seems like Astralis quite happy to shoulder peek and just play contact, maybe off one of Farlig's deeper lines that have found him success time and time again. Zipnix is going to swing in, though, and shut that one down with 3 alive for Astralis. So another pretty decent economy building round for the CT side. Encore's definitely got some work to do. It's going to take multiple rounds consecutively for them to crack in, and they need to really remedy this issue in the mid to late round. Some of these duels in the XVX situations are not going their way. This could be the round where things change up a little bit more. Sterling's got enough for the ult fund. Farlig's over on the AWP now, so it's going to start to change the gun rounds here a little bit more and add a little bit of a different dynamic in there that we haven't seen in a lot of these rifle-centric gun rounds.
Yeah, it's not as if Encore hasn't given themselves opportunities. They've had 3 of the opening duels, Astralis 4. And normally you'd look at a statistic like that and expect the scoreline to be 5-2 or 3-4, but obviously it's 6-1 right now favoring Astralis. So Encore have been doing relatively well in the early rounds. It's those mid to late rounds, as you've been speaking of, that have kind of let them down a little bit. Astralis just bullying them as we get deeper into each round. But there's still hope for Encore. It's still early days, 6-1. It's not a great start, of course, but room to work with still in this first half and this first map.
Astralis have done a great job of securing scaffolding this time around. Encore's been finding success in that part of the map time and time again, but it feels like the critical duel going to come in on this side of the map. Great pop flash to set up config for success, but Hazard gets a pick on the other side of the map in the meanwhile. APOC, great use of the one-way there to give them a numbers advantage, but Encore are very split here in this mid to late round.
Well, they just need to slow things down a little bit, don't they? This is where things often tend to fall apart for Encore at these international events on these bigger stages, and if they can regroup, reset, and take this one as a fair income 4-on-3, as opposed to, you know, a few individual aim duels that Astralis are likely to win, particularly given that Farlig is still alive, they might have a chance. Still got plenty of time in the round.
Yeah, still two players over here, and it's the two big players that are putting in the heavy lifting for Astralis. Farlig sizing up Sidehall here. Aggression from Blame evens up the numbers. Again, this could be one of these rounds that falls apart.
Yep. Talk about opening duels, talk about player advantages, and a lot of them are even still going the way of Astralis, despite having a rougher start to some of these rounds. APOC, though, has done a good job of clearing out the B bomb side. He's going to get that molly in onto jump up to ensure no one can come through from mid. Nix has already made a quick rotation in, and there's flashes across the board. APOC not able to land the shots that he needs there. Sterling luckily will. And in the meanwhile, bomb plant going down, but denied by the grenade. Sterling hasn't got time. And once again, it's the same old story, isn't it? Encore get themselves into a good or decent enough position and just can't convert.
Yeah, critical duel needed to be won there by APOC. Missed out on that opportunity. Kind of getting the firepower edge to Astralis right now. Like, a couple of these important duels need to be won by Encore. Can't be affording to be doing like 60 damage, especially on one of those angles. So again, back down to a half buy here around the AWP from Sterling. It was a good read again, good rotation back over towards that B side of the map after initial contact, but Astralis being the goods in the mid to late round, and they're up 7-1. They're starting to run away with this game.
Sterling going to have to go big with the AWP in this round to make a difference. Hero AWP, something that you'd be happy to see him on normally. The way things are going at the moment for Encore, I haven't started counting my chickens just yet. Savage and APOC look like they're going to make it out of the B stairs relatively unscathed.
Footsteps heard by Zipnix. The aggressors through mid, it's a lot of information for Astralis that's going to allow them to adjust their rotations accordingly. Look at this bombardment of utility over towards ramp side as Zipnik's starting to come in here on the flank side.
Well, Glaive going to try and get a bit tricky, but Savage, he's got some magic of his own. Sterling also chiming in with the AWP. It's again two openers for Encore in exchange for just the one death, but Zipnix, again, in the mid-round, they find the opening, they find the timing, and they start to pick Encore apart. It's now a 2-on-3. They've lost all control of round. And Sterling is forced into a fight against Farlig, who's just not missing at the moment. He's 15-1.
Absolutely gorgeous from Farlig. Able to peak at all the right timings and kind of dismantle that one. And again, it feels like Astralis are getting great flank timings. They're pushing for info on multiple different sides of the map on different timings. You've seen them push aggressively down Scaff and dual ramp. You've seen Config pop his way in towards mid. In towards B stairs, rather, and then you've seen that mid push as well. Like, it feels like Astralis is all over the map on different timings, and that's going to be incredibly difficult for Encore to read.
Going to have to face some pace this time from Encore. Hazard able to find the trade. A tough one to double down in, to be fair, but he's done a good job there, Zipex. He's managed to get the full kill onto Licky and then some pretty substantial damage onto Hazard, so you'll call that a win. Chalk it up as a win for Astralis.
Still Farlig over here towards this A side of the map, though. Joined up by Glaive now. As well as Blame on the rotation. It feels like Astralis again in pretty decent positions. Nice trade back from Farlig as Encore trying to size up the ramp, but it's just an absolute shooting gallery for Farlig at the moment.
I think Farlig didn't realize he was coming to play a Counter-Strike tournament. He thought this was Farming Simulator 2022.
Oh, bloody hell.
He's up to 18-1.
He's got his plow attachment on.
Yes.
Very much so. Call him Farmer at this point.
Farmer Farlig. Farmlig, maybe.
Yeah.
He's having a whale of a time. A ball, really. I mean, what can you really do when someone on the other team's dropping 18 and 1, you know? Encore continually... Look, they get themselves in good spots. They have numbers advantages.
Yeah.
They're looking like they're pressuring into sites. They're being able to get bomb plans down sometimes and find post plans. And then Farlig just activates in the late round. And it's like, well, GG.
Yeah, they're getting outclassed in terms of the firepower. And you have to say, credit to Astralis. They are very active in terms of the rotations. It never really feels like, except for those really late round rotations where Encore's calling the audible back to the other side of the map, that they're in a great position. Man, that's a really nice nade stack. Great entry from APOC as well.
Farlig. They haven't found Farlig just yet. It's a 3-on-5. Yes, I can see you're starting to get excited, Pilski. Encore, they look good in this round, but they have to deal with Farlig. And they have to deal with that rotate coming through from behind. It's a rock and a hard place. You've got to go forward or you've got to go backward. And forward means you're going into Farlig. He's found another frag. It's 3-on-3. Bomb plant can't go down. Config is still being a pest in the background. And Encore, despite finding 2 opening duels, still cannot find a round win.
They're getting pulled apart once again. The same old story right now. Encore now starting to deal with the flank. This is where you can see some action coming from the site players. Config finally dealt with. So Farlig's going to get on the rotation over towards the B side of the map, and aggression from Zipnix. I was thinking in towards secret side there, but instead he's going to play retake on A and start the size up middle. It's a great read from Astralis here. Farlig's already posted on this stairs angle as Encore come up.
He might drop 30 in the first half.
Wow, he missed one.
He did.
Insane.
I don't know if he's going to miss 2, though.
Oh, hold on.
Cast a curse. He's missed 3, and Savage actually shuts him down, so we've found the strategy. You just have to wait for Farlig to miss 3 AWP shots in a row, and then maybe you've got a chance of killing him. Now, though, they have to work their way through the 1-on-2. Zipex has just a smoke to work with, but he's full HP. Savage, dangerously low on 16, is just trying to shoulder peek this corner. Sterling is going to look for the trade. Won't be able to find it instantly, and so now it's down to the 1-on-1, but time is going to be a factor. And a 10-second defuse, maybe still on the card. Sterling just not able to hold on long enough, and Astralis, it seems they can do no wrong. Even when Farlig finally goes down, there's another player that they can rely upon, and 10-1 is the scoreline. Encore. This has to be getting frustrating now.
100%. Need to maybe even take a pause, recollect themselves, but it's such a hard thing when it's almost kind of like intangible. You shouldn't be making any adjustments in the early to mid-round. It's really just the mid-round decision-making that they need to start to align themselves on, because it feels like they're getting picked apart and pulled apart by Astralis, who are always one step ahead in terms of the rotations. Even if they lose numbers advantage, they're just able to turn around rounds flawlessly. It's not like LFO or Encore, rather, are not creating these opportunities. They're getting the entries. They're setting themselves up in nice XVXs where they have some decent positionings, but these critical duels really going the way of Astralis. They're playing with confidence. They're disrespecting. That's exactly what found FaZe success in the BO1 earlier.
10-1. It's starting to slip away for Encore. I had some degree of faith when it was 6-1 that there was still a world where Encore could bring this half back and put something on the board, but it's just starting to get a little bit too much now. And it looks like Astralis is going to start to run away with things. We've already seen 1-14, 1-half in this event. It wasn't between these two teams or involving either of these two teams. We could see our second. If Astralis continues to play the way they are, 4-on-4. The entry was traded down by a grenade.
Look at this, though, from Config all the way on that deep stairs line. He's got a great info line. You've got Farlig deep in middle, so Astralis, again, have a great read on what's happening. Are going to be able to stack 3 over towards this A side of the map.
Sen goes out and keeps Hazard at bay for the moment. Feels like actually a bit of a calmer round in what has been an absolute storm of faster rounds. Hazard might have spotted that head peeking up.
Molly from Farlig onto site, actually.
Forces the boost away.
Yeah. Bit of a misplay.
For Encore. This does feel like a little bit more of a relaxed round. You know, there's not as much happening over the map and there's not as many early fights.
I'm tense. I need a massage. Getting the re-aggress in here from Farlig on the secret side.
I'm not interested. 40 seconds left. Encore are going to have to pick the pace up in just a second. Farlig looks like he wants to do just that. He's really backing himself in this first half. He's definitely going to drop the 20. Not so sure about the 30 anymore. What was that first half from LXCB in their game? Something like 24, 9 or 21 and something. I don't remember, but he did drop plus 20 in the first half against
No one's covering
Movistar
A
Riders. And it looks like Farlig is going to try and beat that number. Savage. Oh, let's see what he can do. 1 on 3. He's picked up 2 headshots, but he's got no idea where blameF is. If he would have just peeked right instead of peeking left, maybe he was in with a chance. Oh, but you just got a feel for him because he's really hitting some nice shots. That's the second time in this map that I've felt Savage actually might be able to turn something on in a clutch situation, but it just hasn't come together.
Yeah, cool. Well, where are the rounds, Jordan?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, cool moves, guys, but need some bloody T-side rounds. And they just never been able to reset Astralis and take advantage of all the damage that they're doing economically.
Farlig's just going to go fast, hard. Have a look at the ramp. He wants some more frags. He's not going to find any this round.
The Encore very heavily contesting this, investing a lot of Molotovs in here. Progression smoke in from Farlig, a 1-for-1. APOC goes down on the other side of the map. Hazard wins the duel in Scaff, so this is going to pull the rotations apart from Astralis. Going to have to make some pretty big adjustments. You see big shifts from both Config and Zipnix on the other side of the map. Re-aggress across here from Glaive, who's going to go in towards Sandbags. Look at this push in the mid-round from Config. Going to be the critical duel between him and Savage for sure.
I'm not sure Savage is expecting this angle. How does he know? How does he know Licky is there for the trade? How does he get 2? Config putting on a masterclass in this round, and he goes straight inside that smoke. He'll find Sterling as well. No question about it. Behind the bin. And I think it's Encore that's getting thrown in said bin at the moment by Astralis. They are just dominating. 12-1 now. And there's nothing to be said for Encore anymore. It is the Astralis show.
Oh, that recoil control, Jordan. And the presence of mind to know that the trade's going to come in from ladder side. Oh, that's gorgeous. And then the play around the smoke. Just the cherry on top.
12-1.
Lack of util here for Encore as well without getting that bomb plant down. It's a bit of a sadder looking buy. Not ideal at all. Gonna be a quick one straight through middle. Pressure on Zipnix as the rotation comes in from the A side players. And again, of course, it's Farlig ahead of the A ball, able to get his scope well and truly primed up here for a couple more kills. 22 for the man as well. He just does not miss.
Not much to say about this round. Sterling, maybe, if his smoke fades favorably for him, we'll be able to get config, but it's not for free. APOC goes down even before that factor, and Zipnix is just hard watching this angle, confident. Sterling has the bomb too, so Hazard's going to have to wriggle his way over here, but too little, too late.
Angle from Zipnix. Absolutely perfect. Not really too much to say. Astralis winning a lot of these critical duels. Couple of frags being pegged back here and there, but no rounds to speak of from Encore. Even against FaZe earlier, they were able to, you know, chip in a couple of frags there, a couple of nice little sharp shots, but that does not a game make. Again, it's falling apart in the mid to late rounds. The composure is really just not there from Encore, unfortunately. They've had a couple of good reads, they've hit a couple of good shots, they're pretty consistently creating opportunities for themselves, but they're just not capitalizing on them.
Well, they've got a couple of chances left in the map, it feels like. Just the one for this half. 13-2, it doesn't sound much better than 14-1, to be quite honest with you, Pilski, but one round, I guess, is double what they've got at the moment, so they'll take anything they can get right now. Bit of a tougher round ahead for Encore, though. Couple of Mac 10s to play with, the Galil as well. Only 2 really solid weapons in the AKs to speak to. In the hands of Sterling and APOC, I'd be almost liable to chuck one of them over to Savage. I feel like he's been the standout on this map for Encore so far.
It's a great info line from Farlig. Able to allow Astralis to lean more heavily towards mid and B this round because he's just got so much info and control over towards that ramp side with that AWP.
Not much to say about that one. for Astralis. APOC, a couple of nice quick entries. Oh, where was this? Where was this for the last 15 rounds? APOC has just turned it on in the blink of an eye, and he might find himself an ace. blameF. He's going to walk right into the crosshair. APOC just can't quite get it done, but end of the day, he has got it done for his team in that final round of the half. Look, I got to say, normally that would bring a lot of fanfare, Pilski, but it is only the second round for the half for Encore, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. Astralis looking dominant on Vertigo, 13-2.
Never die. Fighting as we push through the darkest times. I'll be there by your side. We rise. Everything's breaking. Our souls will awaken. Our spirits never die.
Well, if you're just joining us, you might not be getting to see too much Vertigo. Astralis dominant in the first half, 13-2. There were some moments, some flashes of brilliance from the Encore lads. APOC with that 4K right at the end. Savage, a couple of interesting almost clutches. But at the end of the day, almosts are not good enough for Encore at this point in time. They need rounds, and they need it right now. They need the pistol.
Really need to compose themselves and try to mount a little bit of comeback. It's an unlikely prospect, even on CT side of Vertigo, but look, at the end of the day, see if they can chip in a couple of rounds. Very quick stuff from Astralis, straight up ramp side here, looking to take the duels with the clocks, and already Farlig's on for one. Even if he can't see, he's still connecting a few heads.
Yeah, Config able to trade down the second as well. It's a 2-for-1 exchange. Sterling hiding behind sandbags. That's not going to last too long. He's forced to invest his smoke, and now how does he get out of trouble? And Zapilski, he doesn't. There is no util to help him out at all. He is going to have to go down fighting, and that's what Encore is hoping to do with this pistol round. It's a 2-on-3 now, but Sterling loses his life, and it leaves Hazza on his own. They know, roughly speaking, where he is, but maybe not exactly, and so Config will lose his head. Bomb drops, and Hazard. Can he be the one to hold the torch high for Encore? A couple of clutch attempts we've seen from them haven't worked out, but this one, another chance yet again, and Hazard, he's being mobile, he's being active, and he might be trying to find the backside of glaive. He might well find that timing too, but can he get the shots? Yes, in the end is the answer. And has it down into a one-on-one. Bomb has been retrieved. blameF surely hears him running around behind. And again, an almost clutch, almost something from Brilliance. But Encore just cannot get it together, and that's another round that'll go the way of Astralis.
Yeah, going to be a pretty bitter pill to swallow if you're Encore at this point. No doubt, going to have to try and force up in this second round and try to make something work. Astralis will, of course, be aware of that. No questions about whether they're going to be playing up against the Force Spy in this round, and I imagine they're going to probably play around it quite nicely. Like a quick contest towards ramp. Aggression smoke over there from Astralis, trying to get themselves up in scaff. But not rushing things, what I expected, just taking their time. Try to trade out that utility and come ahead in the mid to late round if possible. Another progression smoke thrown in there from Astralis. Keep the CTs at arm's length and give themselves some space to come back up scaff and ramp in towards this mid to late round. And just another great entry from Farlig, isn't it?
24-6 in only 16 rounds. He has been having an impact alongside the rest of the lads. Config has probably been just behind Farlig in terms of how impressive he's been. But it seems like all of Astralis are firing. And there's not really much to say about Encore. Hazard cannot survive against the onslaught, and that's 15-2. 1 round away for Astralis. Of course, it is a best of 3, and this is only map 1, but when you consider this is Encore's map, and we're going to be moving into Nuke, which has been pretty good lately for Astralis, I think Encore is walking on hot coals.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're going to go for another Force here. Investments of some pistols, MP9. The Scout, not a whole lot of HEs or Molotovs. These are pretty important pieces of utility to be able to contest scaffold and trade map control. Big fight towards ramp. A lot of players over here for Encore and Astralis, and APOC just going to send it straight through the smoke. Able to get a man advantage here, but still a pretty significant utility and weaponry disadvantage. And look, man disadvantage situations have never really bothered Astralis, at least on the last half, that's for sure. Config, he's going to check the corner. Goes down, so that's going to be a rifle given over to Hazard.
A rare moment where it doesn't seem like Config knows exactly where the Encore members are. He's been so aware, so on point for this map. But now 4-on-2. I mean, for Encore, we've seen them drop a couple of numbers advantage situations, but this one, it would feel pretty egregious to lose from here.
And Blame's alive, so anything's possible. See if he can put the team on his back yet again.
Glaive's having a bit of a peek into the A bomb site. Sandbags does get cleared out by the Molotov, but with that, a bit of info is given over to Encore as well. They're hearing this util get tossed in their direction, and they now know that the A offense is where they're really going to have to put their numbers. 30 seconds left, and Encore find themselves another frag. Glaive in the 1-on-4, trying to do as much damage as possible, but will be wrapped upon by Savage, and in the end, Encore get their 3rd round, and they stave off defeat in the first map for another couple of minutes at least.
This map isn't winnable for Encore. Let's not be delusional, but at the end of the day, look, historically, Nuke has been a map that they've been comfortable back in their own home domestic region. It's often been a pick of theirs, and for the core of this team, a map that they found a lot of success on. So realistically here for Encore, all they can really get out of this game is to start to warm themselves up, start to chip in a couple of rounds, build that confidence and that momentum back up so they can have a proper crack at Nuke, because the potential is definitely there in a lot of rounds here on Vertigo, but their mid to late round composure has definitely been letting them down. So need to kind of wean themselves back into this series if they're going to give themselves a crack at this next map. But at least for this round, it's just another roll of the dice, Jordan.
I think Encore's going to have to roll 12 to have any chance here.
Yeah. Roll 12 for APOC 4K out of nowhere after getting slapped the whole game.
Roll 2 6s. What are the possibilities of that? I don't know. I'm not like a dice expert, Pilski.
Has
But
anyone called that number, by the way?
yeah, someone should try
It's
that.
an Easter egg.
Can someone in chat?
That's Gaben's number, Jordan.
Someone in chat actually ring that number right now and report back with results.
We're getting a match medic, boys.
And this is the part where Encore say, call the ambulance. But not for me.
No, just
No?
call the ambulance.
Hmm.
I think Encore were asking admin, is it okay if we roll back to start of the map?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ash was not the admin for this one, probably. So, it didn't happen. Sad.
Well, can Encore hang on? Maybe
Nope.
not. Dipek's just waiting for the push from APOC. And it's a unfortunate start to what could be the final round of the map. Encore going to have to play it out 4 on 5.
Yeah, this is just patient play from Astralis. Working their way through the map, taking their target, giving Encore enough rope to hang themselves with on in the long term here. Another progression smoke thrown in on ramp side from blame. Keep the CTs interested, while Zipnix tries to work mid a little bit more.
You know what I'm disappointed by? Normally in the chat there's a poll that comes up and it's asking whether or not we're going to get OT. We're not. No one's put a poll up in chat. I don't know. What would you vote, Pilsy?
I wouldn't vote.
N Omega Lol? You'd probably vote N Omega Lol, I reckon. Well, Hazza and Sterling, they're hoping that they can still vote for yes, but they're going to have to do it as a duo now against 5 of the Astralis players, and Sterling loses his life pretty quick. Smart Hazza, a nice shot as Config goes flying through the air, but of course cannot hold on long enough, and that is the end of the map. That is the end of Encore's choice. It's a very clean victory for Astralis as they go flying through to Nuke. That's the map that's coming up next. We're going to take a break. We'll break down on the desk, or maybe break down Vertigo after we come back from the break, and then we'll get into map 2 and see how things go.